afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Please let us know in the comments, in the chat, where you're coming from, what time is it, and how have you come here? I mean, what time zone are you coming from? Where are you coming from? And please drop in your LinkedIn profiles right here so Sabrina can connect with you. I can connect with you. By the way, my name is Archa Singh. I come from the Graphies team. This webinar is sponsored and hosted by Graphy, but it is super this is going to be a very, very exciting webinar. I'll tell you guys, we have Sabrina McDonald here, who is amazing, amazing speaker, pastor, author, and conference host who blends strategies, scripture, and soul care to help high achieving professionals bounce back from setbacks with faith and fortitude. Sabrina is an SPHR certified HR director with more than 16 years of leadership experience. How wonderful is that? Holding a master's in legal studies with a concentration in alternate dispute resolution. Wow, wow, Sabrina. She is also certified in an emotional intelligence question and the TILT, Truth Personality Assessment tool she uses to equip leaders to develop awareness and resilience. Her personal story is as powerful as her professional one. Having walked through failure and recovery in every aspect of her life, Sabrina knows firsthand what it means to turn setbacks into comebacks. And that's how she is here today with a beautiful, beautiful topic called the Comeback Strategy Map Developing Fortitude After Failure. She's here to tell you all about how you can come out of it, right? And we have the expert here. Sabrina, over to you. I will come back to you with after your wonderful webinar. I need to take down notes. I'm quite busy now.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who is here. So happy to be here and so grateful to have all of you here in this live just to talk about something that none of us really ever wants to talk about or think about, which is failure. And so I'm here to talk about the comeback strategy map to help you develop fortitude after failure. One thing about us coming into a place or moment of failure is that we are going to be in a place where it is so much harder, so much more difficult, so much more intense for people who have experienced failure after being a high achiever. It is that much worse for us, that much more painful for us. So I'm just here to give you some simple frameworks, really just a simple four-step process to come back even quicker, even stronger, and last even longer. So I'm Sabrina McDonald. Just happy to be here and grateful for all of you who are here as well. So I'd love to know where everyone is from. I'd love to know if you have ever experienced a moment of failure, or if you have experienced failure, let me know if you're one of those high achievers. Most of the people that I help are people who are used to winning, so it stings a little bit worse when we have experienced failure. So I'd love to know that. Tell me in the chat if you have ever experienced failure before in your life. So you are definitely in the right place if you have spent most of your life being a high achiever. If you've had the good grades, you've been the one who's, come to the top of the list, you've been the valedictorian, you've done all of the wonderful high achieving things. Your name is always there on the leaderboard, but you have experienced a failed moment. Sometimes it might have been a failed season. It may have been a failed endeavor, something that you have set out to do that really did not turn out well. And you've just had a really really hard time recovering from it. The bounce back, the get up and go has got up and gone. And so we want to make sure that you're in the right place. So if that is resonating with you, put a yes in the comments. I want to know. And so sometimes we've had difficulty finding motivation or even just giving up and saying, you know what, I don't think I'm going to try anything ever again because this went so badly. And so you are here in the right place if that has ever been your story or if that has ever been your experience. But good news, you're not alone. So, who am I? Who is Sabrina McDonald? Couple of things about me. I am a speaker, I'm a pastor, I'm a conference host, I'm an author. You can pick up my book anytime you want on Amazon. But also, I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I am an HR director. I work a full time job. I have children and all of the personal things as well as the accomplishments here. Um, there were a few things mentioned about my professional accomplishments. Yes, I have a SPHR. I'm certified with 16 years, a little bit more than that, in human resources and in leadership. I've got a master's degree in legal studies with a concentration in alternative dispute resolution. So that's arbitration, mediation, negotiation, all of those things. And I kind of geek out on the personal and character strengths assessments. So I have certifications in the EQI, EQ 360, and TILT, True Personality and Agility Growth Tracker assessments. They help me to work with high achievers, people who have accomplished a lot in their professional journey, to be able to come to a place of self-awareness and go through the steps that are necessary to keep that momentum going throughout their journey. So if you consider yourself one of those high achievers, or if you have been kind of some of the people that I help as well are people who are not only high achievers, but they tend to be the only ones of their kind in their environments. They tend to be the ones that are maybe the only person of color, the only woman, the only person of their particular faith. And so I tend to call them CE onlys because they operate in such high capacity, but they tend to be the only ones of their kind in their environment, which makes it so much more intense when they have a misstep or when something goes wrong. So not only have I had a few accomplishments, but I wouldn't be qualified to have this conversation with you if I had not experienced some failures as well. So let's talk about those. I have some failures. I have failed in pretty much every area that I've accomplished anything in. So that master's degree that I told you about, yes, I have failed 3 different master's degree programs. One was in counseling, one was in human resources. All the things that I do today, I have failed in before I finally achieved the one that is listed in my resume. I've also failed in relationships. I told you that I am currently a wife. I have a wonderful, wonderful husband, but I have failed in that category as well. Sadly, had a divorce, a failed after a failed marriage. And then I have failed professionally as well. Right now, I am doing awesome. I love the people that I get to work with and the things that I get to do, but I have failed in the job category as well. Could not find a job after a layoff. 2 years without any employment and did not have many opportunities coming my way. And also, I have failed in ministry. I told you that I'm a pastor, but yes, I have had women's retreats. I have had a women's ministry, fizzled out after COVID, wasn't able to do it and had failed to revive it afterwards. So if anyone knows success and failure, it is Sabrina McDonald. So that's a little bit about me, but what are we going to cover today? Before we do that, I just want to know in the chat if you would let me know Drop a yes if you think if any of what I mentioned about myself resonates with you, if you have had similar experiences in your life, if you have failed in some of those areas, but also had really, really high highs and really low lows. Yes, give me those thumbs up. Let me know that that is resonating with you. Because today we're going to come and talk about how do we move forward from that? How do we find a place of success after we have fallen so far, right? So what we'll cover today, here's my promise to you. We're going to talk about dysfunctional definitions of failure. We'll talk about the meanings that we assign to our failures, our failed moments, our failed seasons, our failed missions, right? And then we'll talk about how we reframe our reactions to failure, because that is one of the number one things that causes failure to feel so terrible. And then we're going to reset our feelings, right? I'm going to tell you four things that you can do. I call it my 4A framework. We're going to look at that and how we reset our feelings following a failure. And then finally, I will give you my 4-step strategy to draw your comeback map. All right. So we'll talk a little bit about that later. And if we have time, I have a little something special for you at the end to just give you a little bit of a push that you may need to move forward. So make sure that you stay with me until the end. All right, so why do we avoid failure? Why do we avoid it like the plague? Why is it something that we don't want to talk about? We don't want to think about. We want to avoid failure at all costs, right? We want to make sure that we are assessing risk. We want to know what our risk of failure is. And sometimes we won't even try to do anything unless we know that it is fail proof. It is foolproof. It is something that is not going to affect us or give us any chance at all of failure. So why do we avoid failure? It is because, and I will argue this to anyone that I come in contact with, the reason why we try so hard to avoid failure is because of the impact that it has. We have emotional impacts, right? How do you feel? Failure feels bad. Failure feels like it is sometimes even equated with grief. When we have failed at something, the level of disappointment, the shame, the frustration, all of the things that we experience emotionally, we want to avoid that at all costs. And so because of the emotional impact we have that we experience with failure, that's one of the number one reasons why we do not want to experience failure. There is also a social aspect, right? We don't want anyone to perceive us as less because we have had something go wrong in our lives. We want to protect our reputations. We want to make sure that we remain a credible source and that folks might not think we are as much of an expert as we are, or that we are as accomplished as we are. And it looks like all of our accomplishments fall away after we have experienced a failure. Sometimes there's financial loss. Sometimes we lose some money. If we take some risk that may cost us something, we may lose some income if we have failed at that job. We may lose income if we failed at getting that promotion, right? We may take some financial hits if we have failed in that relationship and now we have to live on one income, right? And then there's psychological damages, psychological failures, or psychological impacts of failure, where we experienced increased anxiety, stress, self-doubt. We're scared to try anything else because we have experienced the psychological impacts of failure. So all of these reasons cause us to not want to move toward failure, not to embrace it. And certainly it impacts us as we try to move forward from it. So this is all because of the definition that we assign to failure. Because really, in actuality, it's not as catastrophic as it feels. It's not as catastrophic as we think that it is. It's because of the meanings that we assign to our failed moments. Sometimes we have said the wrong thing in a conversation, we have gone the wrong way, and all of a sudden we are now, hours later, weeks later, we're still thinking about that mistake that we made. It's because of the dysfunctional definition that we have innately assigned to failure. But I'm going to share a definition with you today that is going to hopefully reframe and free you from the definition that you might be assigning to your failed moment. So your failure is really no more than the response that you give it. The response to failure that you have largely depends on how you are defining it. So I'm going to share with you a better definition of failure than probably the one that you have heard so far. So this is Sabrina's definition of failure. Failure is getting a different outcome or result than the one you planned or desired. That is simply it. Just getting a different outcome than what you planned or the one that you desired. I planned to be married by now and I'm still single. Just a different result. I planned to be further along in my career than I am right now, but I was passed over for the promotion. I failed to get the degree in the amount of time that I thought that I was going to get it. I thought that I was going to have a flourishing business, but I've had to maybe put some things on hold. Failure is just getting a different definition or different outcome or result than the one that you planned or desired. That is all. There is not the catastrophe that we tend to assign to the failure that makes us feel so bad, that makes us have all of these consequences, that causes us this psychological impact. When we learn a different definition of failure, it takes all of the emotion out of it. It takes away some of those issues. It takes away some of those consequences that we have assigned ourselves because we are able to simply see it for what it is just a different outcome than what we expected. Okay, so if that is resonating with you, I want you to give me a thumbs up right there. If you feel a little bit better about your failed moments, knowing that it is no more than a different outcome, give me a thumbs up there. Thank you so much. I hope that if you don't see anything else, or if you're not encouraged by anything else that you see today, let that be it. That's all it is. Failure is getting a different outcome or result than the one you planned or desired. So what definitions have we been assigning to our failed moments? What definitions what have we been making that failure mean that is causing us to feel so bad and making it so difficult to move forward? Well, there are three main definitions, dysfunctional definitions that we all tend to assign to our failed moments that keep us down. And they are the following. The first one is fault. And we are so often quick to assign blame to our failed moments. Whose fault is this? Somebody messed up, someone dropped the ball, and more times than not, more often than not, we are blaming ourselves. We are the recipient and we are the subject of the fault-finding mission. We want to know what we did wrong. We want to know how we could fix it. We want to know where we messed up, and we tend to beat ourselves up. And do you know that that leads to the other dysfunctional definition of fight, right? So fault ends up leading to fight. And so sometimes it's not us that we blame. Sometimes it's others. Sometimes it's how we were raised. Sometimes it's our boss. Sometimes it's our friends. When we feel like we maybe did not get the support that we wanted or needed. Sometimes we feel like we have been left without the resources that we need, and that leads to us being in fight mode. And so that lets us feel like we are being attacked. We feel like someone has ill will toward us. We begin to question intentions toward us. It becomes difficult to trust anyone, and that leads us to the the third and the worst of all dysfunctional definition that we assign to our failure, and that is fear. Fear says, I'm paralyzed. I cannot move forward. It is useless to try anything else. It is hopeless. I'm not going to be able to move forward because it's my fault or it's someone else's fault. I've engaged in a fight. I feel like I'm under attack, or I feel like I have to attack. And now I'm in a place of fear where I cannot move forward. I cannot pick myself up. These are the three main dysfunctional definitions that we tend to assign to our failed moments, our failed seasons, and they are crippling. Why? Because they trigger one another. And this is what it looks like. So, first, failure, the failed moment, the failed experience triggers fear. Okay. It triggers fear. And so now I can't move forward. I'm afraid to go back to school. I'm afraid to try and start that new business. I'm afraid to get back into another relationship. And that triggers fear. So that trigger of fear then triggers our stress responses. And we all have different stress responses depending on our character, depending on how we might have grown up, depending on experiences that we've had throughout our lives. We have our failure triggers this fear. The fear then leads to us to develop certain behaviors where we're always feeling like we're under attack. We're always defensive. Maybe we have gotten to a place of vulnerability where we're sensitive to everything. We may close ourselves off and not be open to new relationships and new experiences. That stress triggers unproductive behaviors that keep us from recovering from the failed moment and being able to move on. That's that downward spiral. So this is how damaging and how detrimental it is when we assign the wrong meaning to our failed experience. Okay. So this is what those top three hidden fears. Sometimes we may be saying to ourselves, well, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm just angry. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm just being careful. I'm just assessing risk. I'm just trying to mitigate the things that might come my way that may lead to another failure. But I would argue that there is scientific proof of this, that three main hidden fears, depending on who we are and what our character makeup is, will cause us to develop and to display and demonstrate those unproductive behaviors that keep us from being able to move forward after failure. So these are the three that typically show up for us that are kind of hidden. Some of us are afraid of insignificance. I have failed. Someone's going to know about it. Now my credibility is lost. No one's going to think I know what I'm doing. Some of us who are more prone to and supportive of connection, we need connection. That's my extroverts out there. Where are you all at? Tell me where you are. That you've got abandonment. Maybe is a hidden fear of yours where, I have failed and now I'm not going to get the support that I need. I've failed and now relationships are going to be impossible for me. I have failed and now I'm not going to be surrounded by those that I need. My friends will think less of me. And so sometimes our hidden fear is abandonment, and that may cause us to be avoidant. It may cause us to cling and enter unhealthy and unsupportive relationships. We may also have a fear of vulnerability. Some of us use and I will tell on myself here, some of us will use our accomplishments and that high achieving record that we have to shield ourselves from vulnerability. We hold it like a comfort blanket. We hold it like a badge of honor and a protection for us. And so without that high achievement, without being at the top of every list, without winning all of the awards, then who are we? And we begin to question our identity. We begin to think less of ourselves, and we may think that we are open to be vulnerable, and we might have a loss of control. I can't control my life. I'm not going to be able to control my circumstances. I might not not be able to control my income if I let myself be vulnerable due to failure. And so these are three of the main fears that are hidden that will come up for us over and over again that are triggered by failed moments and the fear that comes from it. So again, we have our failure moment, we have that failed experience. It triggers one of these fears, and that causes us to act sometimes irrationally. Sometimes we become, kind of the stick in the mud, or sometimes we avoid everyone. Sometimes it leads us to be impulsive and to do things without thinking because of these three hidden fears. Well, where do these fears come from? We have fear triggers and stress responses. Okay. And that is because we are all made up of a combination of personality and character. And those two things work together to give us our tendencies, but they also tend to lead us to our hidden fears. And they also give us a tendency to come into a leaning toward or a tendency to lean towards certain fears. Okay. And so personality and character, you may be wondering what's the difference. Personality is something that you're kind of born with. That's what develops, really from the moment that you're born. It determines, kind of what kind of person that you're going to be about certain natural things. But character is developed over time. Character is what is shaped and molded by our experiences, by our relationships, by the things that happen to us and for us as we journey through life. And so those two things tend to work together, and they shape not only our ability to achieve, but it also shapes the hidden fears that sometimes will show up when we are experiencing a failed moment. So this is science backed. Pam Boney, she is the founder and developer of the TILT methodology. I would encourage you to check that out. But certainly, if this is resonating for anyone, just drop a one in the chat. Let me know that you're following this. If this is maybe new information that you have never heard before. So where does some of this come from? I'll take it a little bit further, and then we'll have kind of a moment of reflection. So here, most of us tend to have, we kind of live on this axis. We have a combination of thinking and feeling. This is where our character comes from. We have, think of it as a Y and X axis. So that Y axis is our thinking polarity, where we're thinking, and most of us will lean either to a preference of ideas or a preference of data. So some of us are kind of open to possibilities, while others of us tend to rely on the facts. And then that x-axis, that line across, is our feelings. And so most of us tend to lean either toward people or results. We tend to lean toward, well, what does everyone else think? What about our relationships? We tend to be more in a preference of relationship driven behavior, while others of us tend to lean more toward results. We want to make sure that we are getting a result out of every experience. So for all of us, we have a thinking preference and a feeling preference that tends to make up our character. All right. And again, this is from the TILT methodology. But let's have a moment of reflection here. Just take a second to think about a failed moment that you might have had, a failed experience, a season, a mission, an endeavor, a project, any of the things that you may have tried and expected a particular outcome, but it did not go as planned. All right, think about that and think about what meaning you assign to it. Think about the definition that you assign to it. Did you assign fault where you were immediately trying to think about whose fault was this, who dropped the ball, who messed up, and really kind of go after them, even if it was yourself? Drop a one. if you are in that fault category, if you maybe kind of went straight to fight mode and, thought, geez, somebody really wants me to fail. Somebody really doesn't want to see me succeed. Someone really is trying to sabotage my endeavor. Someone's really trying to get under my skin, and you kind of immediately gone into defense mode, survival mode. You've immediately, had to try and defend yourself. Drop a two in the chat if that's you. And certainly those that are maybe in the fear category where it's just hard to take that next step. You're not really sure what else to do. You've kind of given up, and all the fight has sort of been taken out of you. Maybe you are in that fear category. Drop a three in the comments and let me know where you're, what you feel like might be the most appropriate definition that you have assigned to your failed moment. Well, there is good news. You do not have to be stuck with those definitions, those dysfunctional definitions, but we can redefine our reality. How? Well, it is if we can redefine the fault mode if we take a look at it and realize that failure does not always mean fault. Sometimes it is an invitation for us to focus and think about not only what went wrong, not only maybe whose fault it is, but to think about where we might have gone wrong, where there might have been a problem in the system, where there may have been circumstances that were beyond anyone's control, where there may have been external forces and factors that have contributed to this failed experience that we might not have been able to anticipate, no matter how much risk assessment we've done. Sometimes it is not anyone's fault, and we can redefine our reality by really taking inventory of the failed moment to think about not just where we might have been able to change the situation, but where there might have been external or contributing factors that really have nothing to do with us. One of the number one things that I've seen as a HR professional is that when someone doesn't get chosen for the job, they usually go straight to fault. What did I do wrong? Give me the feedback. Tell me what I can do better next time. Sometimes it really is only because there was only one job and there were multiple qualified applicants. Okay. Sometimes it really isn't anything that you did wrong. Sometimes it's not anything that you could have done better. There was just fewer opportunities than there were candidates. Okay. That's one of the ways that we can redefine our dysfunctional definition. Also, if we have gone into fight mode, sometimes it may not be ill will against us. Maybe it is not that someone is trying to sabotage us. Maybe it is not that someone has tried to do something to us, but perhaps it is an invitation for us to come alongside those that we may be curious about, or that we may be suspicious of, and extend an invitation to say, hey, let's work together to attack the problem and not each other. Okay. So sometimes when we let go of the fight in the failure, it gives us an opportunity to come alongside those that we are working with, that those that we are in relationship with, and it invites a certain fellowship that we are working together to solve the problem and not working against one another in an unproductive manner. So that is a way that we can redefine our reality. And third, if you have gone into fear mode where it's like, man, I cannot even imagine trying again after this. I cannot even imagine doing anything else in this endeavor because I have failed and it just feels bad. I've maybe lost some money over it. I might have damaged some relationships because of it. There is just no way to move forward. That's when we would move to faith. Okay. I told you I'm a pastor, so I always tend to lean on scripture when I'm talking about this. The Bible tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That means that when we don't see a way to move forward, we can move forward anyway with the belief that something better is on the other side. Even if you are not a believer in scripture, even if you're not a believer in those things, it should this is an opportunity to fuel your faith in whatever you do believe in. Maybe you believe in the mission. All right. And so even though it feels terrible to have failed and you fear moving forward, you believe in that mission so much that it is worth getting up and trying again. You believe in the cause for which you have tried this thing and it didn't go as planned, but it's worth getting up and trying again because the outcome is worth the second and third and fourth attempt. Okay. So we can redefine our reality from fault, fight, and fear to focus, fellowship, and faith. All right. So now that I know this, now that I understand these dysfunctional definitions, and now that we kind of have a little bit of an idea of how we might redefine our reality, what is the next step? How do we move from awareness? Okay, now that I'm aware, how do we move from awareness to alignment? How do we move from awareness to getting back into alignment with our path to success? Glad that you asked. One of the things that is important and imperative for moving from awareness to alignment is having the right tools for success. And at this moment, I really want to pull in our sponsor for this mastermind to share with you a wonderful tool that can be used to be successful in your endeavors. I believe that it is something that is a much hidden uh, opportunity and a much hidden tool for success. So at this time, I'm going to call in my sponsor, and they're going to tell you a little bit more about Graphy.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. That was beautiful. And I've been all the way in your webinar now. It has been, and I have my notes here, by the way, you guys, if you can see it. I've written down everything that she said, and that was everything was important. And I have one thing written down here is when you said that the definition of Sabrina is different. So it's something that you haven't planned or haven't desired and it doesn't happen. So you consider that as failure. I think I love that definition. I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life because that is the correct definition. I want you all to drop in a heart or a thumbs up or something to motivate that we do support the same thoughts because that's how it is, I believe, right? And thank you so much, Sabrina, for bringing that to our notice and all of the tools, all of the emotions, the three F's that you mentioned, right? I I was super excited when you were talking about it. So yeah, of course we will jump down to what is graphy. I need you all to stick around because this is something that you might need but you do not know now, or probably you're already in other platforms and you do not know what you're losing out, right? But apart from all of that, Sabrina has so much more to speak and share with you guys. So I would request you all to stick around until we, close the webinar, of course. And like she said, she has a special bonus to give it out to you all. So let me share my screen, Sabrina, if you can let me. Thank you. I have something very exciting for you guys. So here is Okay, this is the Graphics Power AI Bootcamp. We all help individuals build a strong foundation and scale their digital business with expert guidance and proven strategies. Now, when I say experts, you will get to see the people joining in with us. And when I say scale your digital business, now if you do not have one, right, but you can still create one, you can still sell one and earn money out of it. Now, what do I mean by all of that? The first thing that you would be receiving is you learn from the industry experts in the workshop. Now, this bootcamp would be in 1 month period. I would let my team drop in the dates for the bootcamp. They can do that in the chat, right? And you get to train your AI avatar. Now, I would love to let you know what the AI avatars can do more than you can imagine. Now, imagine having a digital version of you that never sleeps at all, one that engages, teaches, supports, and sells, all while you focus on creating the ideas that you love. How cool is that? Because with Graphi's AI avatar, you capture your essence using your website, podcast, YouTube channel, now let's say personal notes, let's say social media. Graphic builds an AI version of you that thinks, speaks, and engages just like you. How cool is that? Right? But I will let you, there has to be some suspense kept in for the last so that people would stick around and know what it is actually. Yeah, so the third step would be get hands on experience with the expert support. The setup of Graphi's platform will be done by us, and of course, you get featured on the Times Square in New York. Yes, you heard that right. You get featured soon after you finish the bootcamp and become an official customer with us. You get featured on the Times Square. This is no cap because we've been doing this from past 10, 11 months now, and it's going wonderful for us. These are our alumni from the previous of course, they have created their profile. Now let's talk about Ashton Nick, who launched their furniture flipping course, and within the first 45 days, they've earned over $25,000. Now that's a win-win, right? Then comes Beyond School, where they sold 600 courses within the first 2 hours of launch. How cool is that? Because we had mentors given to him, we had all the manager, the CSMs given to him to help it out, and it all went to success. We have Ruth Lagron. Now, Sabrina is a mom, of course, right? We support her. Like she said, she has been doing wonderful after she faced all the failure, and that's how Ruth was. She is a leader, she's an entrepreneur, she's a pastor, and a mom. She's been doing this from a very long time. She's empowered over 5,000 women for consulting, teaching, and strategizing. Here are some numbers. I believe people love numbers and data to be seen. So these are our revenue generated 9.2 million in past few months now, right? So please go through it, probably screenshot it. If not, I will let you know how you can contact us in less than a minute. So here is something that is included for you in the bootcamp. Trust me, this is gonna be a very, very affordable price for you guys because of course it's an exclusive webinar by Sabrina and we had to give discounts to the participants coming in. So here is something that we are including in the bootcamp is the free 1 month access to all of our tools that includes website and course builder, email marketing and website funnel, unlimited landing pages and Zoom classes. all of that all of that for 1 month, and you get certification of course from the experts, a 4-day workshop to learn, create, market and sell all of your courses. Now let's say you do not have a course yet, we do have AI now. What are you guys doing? We have AI now to do all of that. So you launch your AI avatar. Now how do you do it? Let me give you a little benefits, little impact. What this means is that you can expand your reach without multiplying your hours. Your AI would work 24/7 for you, answering questions, nurturing leads, guiding learners, right? All of that would be done by AI now. So you do not have to do everything manually. Now, let's say that, right? And exclusive promotion on Times Square, like I mentioned previously, that is no cap, that happens. We also give one dedicated customer success manager to each of you. So an individual attention is given. All of this you get in less than $20. You only get it in $20. You can reserve your spot on $20. It's 100% money back guarantee. You will not receive such an affordable price. Trust me. You get featured on the Times Square. You get all of the tools access. I would let my team drop in the link to register for you guys. Let us know once you register, and please you know do not forget to book our call with our expert. Once you do that, let us know. Do not miss this out because let me go back and tell you, we are giving you an AI avatar, how to launch it. You get featured on the Times Square. You have access to all of the tools. You have 4-day workshop. You have support from a dedicated managers. All of these to build your own company, to build something of your own where you can earn. And it's less than $20, of course. 100% money back guarantee. Now, if you do not know what graph is, or once you're spoken to an expert, you do not feel like what graph is and are not, you know, just do not align with what graph he's doing. We give you 100% money back guarantee. Here is the deal. You No questions would be asked. You do not want to proceed with this. We can cut that down. But here is the deal. You reserve your spot now. Let us know in the chat. Our team is already connected with you. We will proceed one more time just so we can go through this, where you can train your avatars with anything and everything. Now, that can come from Notion's notes to YouTube videos to your Word files to your LinkedIn, anything and everything to train your avatar. Now, all of that you get in less than $20. So please let us know once you've paid $20 using the link in the chat and book a call with us. Now, once that's done, we will be connected with you and have you featured soon on the Times Square. Right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and go back to Sabrina because we have things that Sabrina would love to share. And here is something. Okay, I think I've stopped sharing my screen. Sabrina, thank you. I mean, we have been, the bootcamp dates are out now. People are aware of the tools that you just proposed for success, and I hope they take an indecisive action soon enough. I would let you continue your webinar and then see you for the Q&A.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I just want to make sure, is my screen, am I sharing well? Okay, awesome. Well, we have heard some amazing details about an awesome opportunity. I don't know of any other opportunity where you can get featured on the Times Square billboard, but that is just an awesome opportunity. So I do encourage you to go ahead and sign up for the Graphy Boot Camp. It is phenomenal. I have taken it myself, and I highly encourage you to go ahead and sign up. All right, so now that we've heard about some of the tools that we can use to go forward with success, let's talk about alignment. Let's talk about our 4A feeling reset, because one of the number one reasons why failure is so intense and it is so impactful is not only because of the definitions that we have assigned to it, but it is also because of the feelings that we get from it, the emotional impact that we have had because of the failed experience that we've had. We assign the definition, it triggers our stress response. We behave erratically, not in the way that we would desire. And that cycle keeps going over and over again. But we can reframe not only the definition that we've given and move away from fault, fight, and fear, but we can also align our feelings so that they don't hold us back from recovering and becoming successful. So, what does that look like? What is our 4 steps? This is really simple. The 4 steps to try to reset our feelings. One, we've got to acknowledge them, right? Feelings aren't going away just because we think positively. We've got to acknowledge them. There's no reward for denying our feelings or stuffing them down. We want to feel it. We want to acknowledge it. The feelings are there, but we don't want to stay there. We want to move forward with assessing those feelings, assess the experience. What made this a failed experience? What made this turn out differently than what we planned or expected? Okay. What is the source of the distress? Why does this feel so bad? Is this really as catastrophic as we are feeling? Is there really no way to move forward? We want to take a true assessment of what is really happening. And then we want to analyze. Once we understand what is really happening, we want to take a step forward in analyzing. understand the why behind the experience, okay? We want to understand why I'm experiencing this failure. Why did it not turn out well? Why am I feeling this way? I'm experiencing failure due to an event, action, or behavior, but why? And we want to keep asking why until we get to the core of the issue, until we get to the core of what is happening. Because oftentimes we will find that after we've asked why, it is because of something that really has nothing to do with us not being able to move forward. It has nothing to do with us not being able to go on to success. Okay, so we want to not only acknowledge the feelings, we want to take assessment of the actual situation. We want to analyze the situation and process it with the feelings. And then we want to assign our next step. What is one thing, one small step that you can move forward with in faith? What small action can you take to move toward or to move back toward the success that you once experienced? Because listen, the truth of the matter is you are already successful. You're a high achiever, and you've been able to achieve that even being the only one of your kind within your environment. That means that no matter what experience you have had that has led to failure or what failed experience you might have had, there is always a way to succeed. You have the proof because you have already succeeded before. You've already been a high achiever. So now we want to just assign ourselves one small step, one small action that we can take today, that you can take right now to get yourself back on the path towards success. Okay, so that's now brings us to the strategy. Here is the comeback strategy, and I'm telling you, it is so simple. It is something that is it is not insignificant, but it is simple. It is something that we can do in every situation, and it applies to every experience that we have. We are simply going to draw our way back to a place of resilience. What does that look like? It is literally an acronym, DRAW. We are going to start out with desire. And my letters are moving around on me, but the desire, what was the desired outcome? What were we expecting to happen? What is really the solution, the outcome that we were looking for? We want to draw our action plan. What is the desire? What is what happened that shouldn't have happened? What didn't happen that should have happened? We want to look at our desire. What is the desired outcome? And then we are going to move forward and look at our reality. What is the present reality? I wanted the promotion and I am still in an individual contributor role. I desired to have this relationship lead to marriage, but it ended in a breakup. Oh my goodness. What is the current reality? What am I dealing with right now in this situation that is different from the desired outcome? Now, here's where we are going to assign. This is where we're going to take action, right? What is one small step that I can take to move closer to that desired outcome? I know I don't have the job. That is my current reality. My desire was to have a promotion. What is one thing that I can do to move myself forward to that promotional step? Okay. Is it maybe getting another certification? Is it getting further education? Is it signing up for an additional class? Is it maybe sitting with someone, maybe a coach, to help strengthen you in the area of your interview skills? Maybe it is taking some steps to prepare. Maybe it's a stretch assignment at your in your particular in your current position, your current role on your job, to make you prepared and marketable for that promotion when it comes. Maybe it's talking to a relationship coach and learning to get some clarity on your character and personality to make you more attractive to those that you would want to be in a relationship with. So, what is one small step, one small action? Doesn't have to be the entire thing, but what is one thing that you can do to move you closer to that desired outcome in spite of, or even because of your current reality? And then the last step is to determine who who is going to help you get there. Who has the power? Who has the influence to move you or help you take that step? Who has the ability to get you to the place where you can take that small step, that small action to lead you back to your desired outcome? Sometimes that who is you. Sometimes that who is maybe your best friend. Sometimes that who is your spouse or your boss or maybe a mentor. That is maybe who you are looking forward to, who has the influence to help change that reality and that outcome. So we want to draw our way to success. We start with desire, we move into reality, we decide on an action, and we determine who has the power and influence to help us get there. All right, so that is our comeback strategy map. We are drawing our way back to success. All right, so what did I promise you in the beginning? I promised that we would look at dysfunctional definitions. We did that. I told you that I would talk about reaction reframing. So we're resetting our focus not on not on fault, fight, and fear, but on faith, fellowship, focus, right? We're reframing our reaction. Talked about the 4A feeling reset so that failure doesn't have to feel so terrible, and then gave you the 4-step framework to draw your way back to success. So hopefully I have delivered on that. Give me some hearts, some thumbs up if you think that I have delivered on my promise to you today. But I also promised you a special bonus. All right, so if you're still here with me, thank you so much for staying this long. The special bonus, I'm gonna put if I can get it to work for me, I'm gonna put a link in the chat. And this is the special bonus. This is the emotional check-in. This is the CE only. I told you that's what I call the people that I help. They're high achievers. They're typically the only ones in their immediate environment or in their professional environment. I call them CE only. So this is the CE only emotional check-in. It's a small quiz. It's going to take you less than 2 minutes to determine kind of what stage you're in this journey after failure. Are you in a place of wanting and seeking clarity? Are you in a place of being kind of stuck and needing some affirmation or some encouragement to move forward? Are you in a place of where you're ready to take action and you're ready to draw your way to success? This 2-minute quiz is going to give you that ability to kind of look in and see and get some clarity on where you are in the process. And then if you go and keep in touch with me, you'll be able to get to the place where you can work with me directly if you'd like to go further. All right. So here is all of my contact information. You can go to sabrinamcdonald.info to get all of the information that you need. You can even get the link to the check-in, the emotional check-in there. You can email me at contact@sabrinarenee.org, or you can hit me up on all of my social media platforms. Here are all my handles. I'm regularly on LinkedIn. You can also reach me on Facebook and Instagram as well. But certainly the number one way to reach me, contact@sabrinarenee.org, or you can go to my site, which is sabrinamcdonald.info, and you'll be able to see how to continue to stay in touch with me and work with me there, especially if you're a CE only that wants to move forward in your fortitude journey away from failure. It has been an absolute pleasure to be with you today. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk with you about developing fortitude after failure. I hope that you have found value here to draw your comeback strategy map. And I'll call back
Wow.
Kathy.
Wow, 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 Sabrina. It was wonderful having you. And every slide that went through, I had my notes written. I had something that you said that I did not want to forget. Because like I showed you, Yes, it was a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Roger. And thank you to everybody, and shout out to everybody who have taken indecisive action to actually register. Let me call out everybody's name who was in, starting with Jade, Julia, Melody, Marvin, Ronald, Alicia, all of you. Thank you so much for registering and welcome to the boot camp. And thank you so much, Sabrina, for delivering such a wonderful webinar with us. And I hope you all got your notes ready. If not, then what are you guys doing? But thank you so much, Sabrina, for having us and for delivering such a beautiful webinar. I would love to see you again having a webinar done with us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you
And
so
thank you,
much. And
everybody.
thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thank you. I will definitely see you guys again. Bye. Take care.